A lot of times I get asked how is it to ride in a group. Riding in a group is actually not very different from riding alone. But the advantage is that you have other people to help, to have fun with, and it just makes, for me, it just makes the entire ride more interesting. Riding in a group does not mean that one has to be a very close bunch with everybody one behind the other. The first thing we need to take care of is safety. And for that, everyone needs to be able to have enough space to ride in their own comfort zones. It's not necessary that on a ride, if 20 people start, they will all be together. They could be in smaller groups or larger groups, depending on what you find comfortable. Also, there are some basic guidelines that we need to assume. The first is that you need to assume the responsibility for your own safety. It's not somebody else's onus to care for your safety or to show you what are the hazards on the road up ahead. Also, it's not necessary for you to blindly follow the rider in front of you. In fact, we should try and not focus all our attention on our riding buddy who's riding in front of us. If you were riding by yourself and there was a motorcyclist in front, you would not pay undue attention to him. You would still be aware of what's ahead of them. You would be trying to look as far ahead as possible. So those are the things that you continue to do even if you're riding in a group. Yeah, assume the mantle of your own responsibility and look beyond the person in front of you. So get yourself in a position where you have enough distance to react independently, enough visibility to feel safe and comfortable. So when you're riding in a group or even without, I think it's very important that we communicate with each other while overtaking. So it's essential that we make the person ahead of us aware that we want to overtake and wait for him to give us space to go ahead, instead of trying to rush and squeeze in that limited road space that is available to all of us. The basic rule is if you've been riding for some time and somebody is caught up from behind you, they're obviously traveling faster than you are. So let them go ahead. Eventually, this is just a ride and a tour. There are no prizes for reaching first.
When you're traveling in a group, the first thing that you have to keep in mind of most importance is keeping distance between the other motorcycle. Let it be a motorcycle or another vehicle that's on road. Because if you're traveling behind this particular person too close, as and when there is obstruction on the road, there is a speed breaker or a pothole or even animals crossing, it becomes very difficult for you to take a call and move away. If you are maintaining that particular distance, you are able to see beyond that particular rider or the vehicle and are able to take your own call and not wait for that particular person to take a decision or not. Whenever you're riding in a group, there might be instances where your friend or a motorcyclist is flagging you down for various reasons. We usually have the mindset of stopping right then and there to be able to help that first person or to figure out what's going on. But whatever it be, roads are to be ridden, to be traveled and not to be parked or stopped. So whenever you have an instance where you have to stop for a particular reason, ensure you pull away from the road and stop on the side. This also helps the people behind you to continue with their movement and do not create a panic situation.
So one of the most frequently asked questions when you talk about group riding is about hand signals. And so on our rides, there are no hand signals or leg signals for that matter. I mean, the motorcycle is a machine where you require both your hands and your legs to ride it. If you really get into a spot, you want all these hands and legs to control the motorcycle. So you're not going to have, so instinctively you're not going to have the time to do any sort of hand signals for your fellow riders as such. So why bank on a system which is designed to fail when it is most needed? And there is no universal protocol for hand signals. I mean, there will be a lot of interpretation of what this means and what that means and all things like that. So depending on what your group has been frequently using, depending on what somebody else's riding background is, these hand signals have more potential to cause confusion than to help anybody who's riding in a group.
Well, That's all there is for this episode of Dominar Rides. If you want to see more content like this, stay tuned for the next episode.